Before we begin, if you care about serious history, real-world survival knowledge, and lessons pulled straight from the lived experience of World War II soldiers, make sure you subscribe to this channel and share it with someone who values learning over noise. This channel exists for people who don't just watch history, but study it. The secret war against the rain was not fought with bullets or bombs, yet it decided who stayed healthy, who stayed mobile, and who survived long campaigns. Rain and mud crippled armies long before they faced the enemy. Soldiers in World War II learned this the hard way, and what they developed under pressure still applies today for anyone living, travelling, or surviving in wet environments. This wasn't comfort. This was discipline, engineering, and ruthless attention to small details that kept men alive. Rain was treated as a tactical enemy, not an inconvenience. World War II armies understood something modern people often forget. Staying dry was not about comfort. Wet skin led to infections, trench foot, hypothermia, and total combat inefficiency. Soldiers in the United States Army, the British Army, and the Wehrmacht all documented weather as a strategic factor. Mud slowed advances, ruined supply lines, and killed soldiers quietly. The solution was never one single piece of gear. It was a system. Drainage, elevation, layering, airflow, and constant maintenance worked together. Miss one element and everything failed. Elevation and ground selection kept soldiers dry before shelters even existed. One of the first lessons drilled into infantry units was simple. Never sleep in the lowest point of the land. Soldiers learned to read terrain fast, even in darkness or rain. Slight rises mattered. A difference of a few inches determined whether water pooled under your body or flowed away. In modern terms, this means never pitching a tent in a depression, dry riverbed, or flat clearing without runoff paths. World War II soldiers would scrape shallow diversion trenches uphill from sleeping areas to redirect water. This wasn't trench warfare. These were finger-wide channels carved with bayonets or entrenching tools in minutes. Today, anyone camping or bugging out in wet climates can do the same. Redirect water before it reaches you, not after you're soaked. Ground insulation, believe it or not, mattered more than waterproof roofs. Many soldiers quickly learned that a waterproof shelter meant nothing if the ground just leached heat and moisture upward. So you'd see straw, pine branches, wooden slats, spare ammunition crates, and even folded rain capes used as makeshift ground barriers. German soldiers, for example, frequently built raised sleeping platforms from whatever scavenged boards they could find, while Allied troops often layered ponchos over brush. Now, modern survivalists can, and really should, apply this directly. Always separate your body from wet ground. Even something as simple as cardboard, spare clothing, or a backpack placed beneath your torso reduces moisture transfer. The principle, honestly, is unchanged. Dry above means nothing if you're wet below. Clothing systems back then were engineered to dry out, not to resist water forever. World War II rain gear, well, it was far from perfect. Ponchos leaked, coats soaked through, and boots, absorbed water like a sponge. The difference was soldiers were trained to manage wetness, not just avoid it. Wool uniforms dominated because, you see, wool retained insulation even when it was damp. Soldiers rotated socks constantly, drying one pair under their clothing while wearing another. This teaches a modern lesson, you know. Stop relying on that single waterproof item. Build redundancy. Carry extra socks. Use breathable layers that dry fast instead of trapping moisture. Even today, wool remains superior to cotton in wet conditions for the same reasons soldiers learned back in the 1940s. Now, mud was defeated with discipline, not shortcuts. Mud destroyed boots, vehicles, and morale. Soldiers fought it daily. Boots were cleaned every chance possible because, well, dried mud stiffened leather and caused cracks. Grease and oil were applied regularly to keep the leather flexible. Improvised boot covers were made from sandbags or rubberized fabric during the worst conditions. For modern use, this means maintenance beats gear upgrades every time. Clean your footwear, condition the leather, and dry your insoles separately. Mud ignored becomes damage, plain and simple. World War II soldiers understood that neglect meant injuries weeks later. Shelters back then were designed to breathe just as much as they blocked rain. Condensation, you see, killed comfort and soaked gear just as effectively as rain itself. World War II soldiers often left shelter edges slightly open, even during storms, to allow airflow. Fully sealed shelters trapped moisture from breath and body heat. Soldiers learned, through hard experience, to balance exposure with ventilation. This applies directly today, honestly. A tent zipped tight in rain often turns into a dripping mess inside. Strategic airflow prevents internal moisture buildup. Dry isn't sealed, dry is balanced. Small habits really separated the sick from the operational. Drying routines were enforced whenever possible. Socks hung near body heat, boots were loosened at rest, feet were inspected daily. These habits weren't optional. Trench foot nearly crippled entire units early in the war until discipline corrected it. Modern survivalists should, without a doubt, take this seriously. Daily foot care, drying routines and gear checks, these are survival skills, not just hygiene preferences. History proves that neglect ends missions faster than any enemy contact. The rain, well, it never stopped, so soldiers adapted, permanently. World War II soldiers didn't wait for better weather. They accepted rain as constant and built systems that worked within it. That mindset, honestly, is the real lesson. You don't beat rain by wishing it away. You beat it with preparation, awareness, and routines that assume wet conditions will return tomorrow. Every principle here remains relevant. Elevation, drainage, insulation, layered clothing, ventilation, and maintenance. They form a complete system. This isn't outdated knowledge. It's tested under fire. If you found value in learning how World War II soldiers fought the environment as fiercely as the enemy, subscribe to this channel, share this video with someone who respects real history, and keep this knowledge alive. Survival lessons earned the hard way should never be forgotten.